and rewards management. Today, we will cover compensation and rewards management, which is very significant for the students of the management studies, especially for the MBA curriculum. As you know, previously we have also covered about the compensation and HR practices. So today we go through with the compensation rewards management system. I hope you all are well and doing well. And today we will understand in this unit number 1 about the compensation, rewards, management, and their applications. Let's start from the unit number 1. First of all, when we have to start, you can see from the slide, when we have to start in here, the unit number 1, first of all, we focus upon the objectives. Objectives are very significant and objectives are very important. First objective, you can see to understand and appreciate the role of the compensation and rewards in any organization. This is the need, we can say in the objective number 1, this is the need of the industry nowadays. So, understand and appreciate the role of the compensation and rewards in any organization is the very first objective of the study of the compensation and reward management. Number 2, we aware the current trends in the compensation and its role, appreciate the issues involved in the compensation. Then the objective number 3, you can see, appreciate the issues involved in the compensation, then have a comprehensive view of the compensation policy, also the part of the objective of this unit. Then understand the micro as well as the macro linkages of the compensation policy is the part of the objective of this unit and the curriculum also. We can say what is the meaning of the micro and what is the meaning of macro. Friends, as we are the student of management and HR practices, micro is applicable for the small level when we are working for the little organization of few groups or for some specific organization, 1 or 2 organizations. Then when we are applying these practices of HR for the compensation, then this specific thing is known as the micro. In case of the macro, when the coverage of the whole industry is applicable to the whole industry, then the specific part is known as the macro. It is clearly indicated with the name macro belongs to the small and macro for the broader term. So when we are applying all the things for a specific industry, like the pharmaceutical industry, like the aviation industry, like the agricultural industry, for the specific industries and for a group of organizations, then this is the part of the compensation when applied here is known as the method. Then other objective is appreciate the complexities of the compensation structures. So here complexity word, you can say here in this slide number 1, complexity includes the efforts, it includes the side effects, legal barriers, and other aspects in detail. Like the SWOT analysis, it is very common term or terminology nowadays used in the HR practices, also in the marketing, everywhere in HR practices is SWOT, where S belongs to the strength, W the weaknesses, O is the opportunities, and T is the threats. So when we are preparing the policy, when we are framing the policy, when we are preparing the strategies, we are planning for the compensation, then there is also the need to overcome these complexities of the compensation structure, which is the part of the objective. So, strength, what is the strength of this policy which we are framing? What are the weaknesses of the planning or the specific plans? Then what are the opportunities? How it will be helpful for the practices? Then threats. What type of threats may be arises when we are applying these type of the policies to our employees? So SWOT in is for the industrial. It must be considered when we are framing the policies, and this is the part of the compensation structure. So first of all, it is very important when we are discussing and we are saying that what are the objectives are there and what are the objective of this unit also. Then in this block and in this unit, there are some structures. Structure number one is 1.1 in this block. We have covered the compensation concept, which includes the concept, meaning, definitions, and basics of the compensation is the part of this unit or of this block is known as the 1.1, which is known as the compensation concepts. Then we are discussing here the direct and indirect compensation also. Two types of the compensation are applicable. This is the part of structure, direct and indirect. Discussing this unit also. Then very important and significant point number 1.3, as you are seeing here, the slide, role of compensation. What is the role of compensation? This is also the part of structure, part of curriculum here. Then it will cover the compensation structures. 1.5, we will cover here the compensation programs, functions, and what are the responsibilities belongs to the compensation here. Corporate compensation policies is the part of structure here. Issues and current trends are there. So this specific block will cover these issues and current trends also in this specific block. Issues with the challenges faced worldwide is the part of 1.7. Let's go for the compensation concept. Here we are discussing about the compensation concept here. Compensation concept, what is the real meaning of the compensation? So in the compensation, literally, or we can say the definitionally, the term compensation means employees gross earning. What are the gross earning of the employees? This belongs to the compensation. It is the gross earning in the form of the financial rewards and the benefits as the part of employment conditions. Functionally, it may also be viewed what a system of reward that motivates the employees to perform. First of all, we understand the concept. It is very, very clear in the first block or in the first unit. There must be clear all the confusions. If there is any confusion in the mind of the students, that what is the real meaning of the compensation and what are the functions of compensation. So it is clearly indicated here. Gross earning is related to the gross earning. It is clearly indicated in this definition. Benefits, word employment relationship. So employment relationship, benefits, gross earning is the key point of this concept. Functionally, it may also be viewed as a system of reward that motivates the employees to perform. So let's know these two types of the motivation is here. First of all, we understand what is the motivation, because the function of the compensation correlated with the motivation. So rewards that motivates the employees. So what is the real meaning of motivation? Everywhere we are here about the motivations, motivation programs are there. How the employee becomes motivated. So the real meaning of the motivation is a force which stimulate the employees or to employees which stimulate towards the act, stimulates to work, to complete the work, to achieve the targets, to achieve the missions of the organizations is the part of the motivation. Motivation is also divided into two parts, positive motivation and negative motivations. But we are not going for the part, we are not going towards the negative motivation because we are the persons of management, so we are going with the positive motivation concept. So positive motivation is the compensation, the rewards, the earnings, and relationship is the part of the positive motivation who motivates the employees towards perform well. So the first function is the system of reward that motivates the employees to perform well and we will provide them the positive motivations. Number two, or B we can say here, a tool used by the organization to foster the values, culture, and the behavior. They require an instrument that enables the organizations to achieve their business goals is the part of the compensation. At last, we can say in the C point, the important to achieve the goals by fulfilling the financial needs of the employees for the betterment and to check the employees turnover while they are leaving the organization. So over the organization or in the organization to retain the employees for the sake of organization, for the betterment of the organization, for the harmony and peace of the organization, and to increase the productivity of the organization in terms of the services, in terms of the products. There is the need of a well-defined policy, humanistic approach policies, compensation policies for the shape or the betterment or for the better relationship with the employees is need a good policy of the compensation. So this is the concept. I am just focusing again on this slide because it is the very first block: employees, gross earning, relationship, and motivation, culture, goals, and welfare for the society. Welfare and retention word is very important here. For the retention of the employees, there is the need of the compensation and reward policy everywhere, or it is required for the, all the organizations. So this is clear cut, indicated here. Compensation is very, very important and very, very significant also in the era of globalization for the shape of the welfare of the society. Next, further we have divided this specific thing of compensation direct or indirect compensation. It's very old here. Compensation is usually divided into the direct as well as in the indirect compensation. Direct and indirect. While the direct compensation refers to the financial remuneration, usually cash, and includes such elements as basic pay, dearness allowances, overtime pay, shift allowances, incentive, bonus, profit, sharing, bonus, and commission. Also, just a minute, please. So, sorry. Uh, so, the compensation is usually divided into direct and indirect. We are discussing about the incentives, bonus, profit sharing, as well as the commission. This is the part of the direct as well as the indirect type of the compensation. The term indirect compensation also termed as the basis. We have here the term basis or the wage supplements or the fringe benefits. We will discuss what are the fringe benefits in the another slide. The refers to the benefits that include provident fund, which is known as PF, pension schemes for the welfare, medical and health insurances, sick leaves, and various other benefits and the perks received by an employee. Then indirect compensation, it may include general category of employees, benefits which may include the statutory or non-statutory, what type, social securities, and also the welfare-oriented benefits. Statutory benefits of compensation, for example, we will discuss here, include the pension, PF, which is known as the Provident Fund, gratuities, and medical insurance is the part of this specific, we can say, for the compensation. Providing there is a word we have used here, fringe benefits are there. What is the fringe benefits? Fringe benefits are the providing the house, when we are providing the house, we are providing the drivers, servants, as well as we are providing some traveling allowances, we are providing some transportation charges, education for the employees for the betterment, higher degrees, as well as for the welfare of their family, child education. For the child education, we will also provide lump sum money in some organization. This is the part of the fringe benefits which will be other than the perks or other than the salaries. So the direct as well as the indirect. The term indirect compensation, also termed as the base supplements of fringe benefits, refers to the benefits which I also discussed. What are the fringe benefits? That includes the provident fund, pension schemes, medical and health insurances, sick leaves, and the various other benefits and perks received by an employee. In this block, we are discussing here that indirect compensation may include the general category of the employee, benefits which may include the statutory, non-statutory social security, and also the welfare-oriented benefits. As well as the other benefits, for example, will include the pensions, PF, fund, gratuity, medical insurance, also the part of this schemes. Right. Voluntary benefits, which include such elements as employee care benefits, including the medical reimbursement. We are providing some, if there is some time of the medical emergencies are there, then the organization will provide the medical reimbursement of the bills or some, if there is some expenses which is occurred by the employee, then there is the chances of reimbursement here. Educational allowances we have also discussed for the higher education, for the education of their the single girl child. Sometime we are providing some benefits also in case of the educational allowances. Vacations, special vacations we are providing, except CL and EL are there, as well as we are also providing the vacations for the welfare, family leaves we are providing, maternity leaves we are providing, paternity leave providing, so tuition reimbursement sometime, and child family care is also the part of this compensation schemes. Housing, relocation facilities, or services are like. It is very indicated, clearly indicated here, the wages supplement or indirect compensation have the grown partially due to the favorable tax policies. Employer and employees are allowed the tax deduction for the expenditure related to the pension and welfare programs, as well as the reimbursement. Employees are subject to the certain income tax rules are there. These rules are very time to time or it is applicable in the society. Next, wages supplements approximately contributed to 25% or more of the total wages in the industry. But why does an employer need to spend so much money on the wages, supplements, or on the fringe benefits? It is clearly indicated the answer stems from the fact that there exists the consideration other than the legal obligation which aims to attract and retain the labor. We have also discussed in the slide number 2 or 3. To attract and retain the labor is very, very important. If the retention ratio is good or appropriate in any organization, then we can say this organization is known as the employee family, or there is a good relationship between the employee and employers. There is a peace, there is the harmony, there is the good relationship between the employee and the employer. So there will be the chances of the growth of the specific organization when the retention rate is high due to the compensation policies. It's clearly indicated. Next, the point number B, to induce a sense of commitment to the organization, that is also the part. To promote more harmonious employer and employee relationship is also the aim of this specific phenomenon. Next, we can say in the point number D, to generate a good morale in the employees. Whatever is working for the production department, working for service sectors, because we have divided the market into two parts, like for the production of product market as well as for the service market. Because it is also depends on the P's, 4 P's and 7 P's concept is applicable also. So moral for the employee, to generate the moral in the employee, there is need to frame a good compensation policy. Next, to provide a satisfying, healthy, and safe environment. Environment is very, very important for the working, as for the productivity, or for the betterment of the organization, for the good organizational behavior. It is necessary a safe working environment applied everywhere in any organization. Then, to promote the employee welfare, this is also there. Next, to help the image building of the organization. This organization is very good. They are providing the benefits, they are providing the fringe benefits, they are providing the this type of the leaves are there, weekend parties they are providing, some type of the leaves they are providing, reimbursement of the medical bills they are providing, some type of the education of your wards they are providing. So when there are the insurance policy they are providing. So to help the image of the organization, to make the image in the mind of the employee, why they are want to do job in this specific organization is also the aim for this compensation policy. Then, to meet the statutory as well as the legal requirement for the protection of the employees against the old age, sickness, contingencies such as accident, etc. To avail of the tax benefits applicable to the expenditure on the various employers. Welfare programs and their activity is the aim. So, this is clearly indicated. You can see to generate morals, to provide satisfying health, to promote employee welfare, to help in image building, to meet the legal requirements, to avail the tax benefits applicable whenever is the part of this compensation policies. You can see here. Okay. Next, indirect compensation varies as the consequence of the organization compensation policy. And the human resource philosophy, its location, the type of business, and the type of job that an individual follows, hazardous nature of the jobs, and difficulty locations difficult locations, you can say, of the unit of an organization, such as hill and disturbed areas demand more and more indirect remuneration. They are working sometimes in very adverse conditions. So they demand more and more regulations, more perks to attract and retain the employees in such type of the organization where the situations are not under the control, where the some areas are disturbed due to some specific things when they want we require more remuneration here and more work. So this is also considered by the HR manager when the particular person framing the policies for the betterment for the employees. So geographical, we can say the geographical segmentation, when we are segmented geographically for the employees, then it must be considered in which type of the condition. If it is working in a adverse condition, then there may be sometime remunerations and perks may be more as compared to other places, like the example of hill and disturbed areas. Okay, so these are some indirect compensations. Next, the strategy of employee benefits program is determined also by some specific business objectives. We have discussed the objectives in the unit slide number. Cost factors are there. What are the costs including here? Organizational compensation policy, employees preferences, what type of preferences employees apply, collective bargaining, other issues, benefit programs of the competitive employer, taxation, legal and regulatory implications, the human resource management philosophy of the organization, job hazards, as well as the risk factor and other organizational considerations are the part of the strategy when we are framing any compensation policies or the work policies specifically for the HR practices. You can see here that the strategy of the employee benefits programs is determined also by the specific businesses, objective, cost factor organization, objectives, cost factors, and organization structure, compensation policy, employee preferences, collective bargaining issues, benefit programs or the competitive employer, taxation, legal and regulatory implications, the human resource management, which is known as the HRM, human resource management philosophy of the organization, also the part to hazards and risk factors, and the other organizational considerations are the part of compensation and reward management. It is clearly indicated in this specific slide. You can see. Next, we can see the simplest and the most common form of the cafeteria plan is the reimbursement accounts, which allows the employees to pay for certain benefits in a tax-free manner. Other models prescribe a good benefit package plus operational add-ons with the increased sophistication in the computer softwares and the consulting firms providing specialized services in the employee benefit programs. This type of benefits program is likely to become more popular in the coming years. You can say in the coming years. Next, let's see. This is very important slide. Why there is the need? Why there is the need? And what is the role of compensation? You can read. Role of compensation. Role of compensation is important. Why this is important? Why this is the requirement of the compensation? What is the role of the compensation? It must be eyes in the mind when we are framing any policy. Role of compensation is important and substantive for any organization as it play the following major function. It is very important. Role is very important. Number one, it enables an organization to attract and retain the manpower which it requires. Means retention. Enable an organization to attract and retain the manpower it requires. Its meaning is the retention. Retention, I have said, is very important. You can see here. Next, it motivates employees and it provides the direction to their efforts. Then it includes the employees to develop their skills and competencies, skills which the organization require or may require in future also. So, point number one, enable an organization to attack, which is directly indicated the retention. Point two, it motivates the employees and provide the direction to their efforts. They are also providing the direction. Next, it includes the employee to develop these skills and competencies also, which the organization require or may require in future. Then it is used to foster the value and culture of the organization. This is the specific role of compensation. It may be more. In this slide, I am concluding on 3 to 4 points because some time constraint is also there. So there may be more roles for the compensation and for the reward, but basically retention, attraction, motivation, employee welfare, provide a direction. Then it is required for the development to increase the competencies, to develop the skills, is very important, and foster the value and maintain the culture, which is known as the organizational culture. Compensation is mandatory and it is prerequisites. It is mandatory for every organization which are providing the which they are working in the field of the production or whether they are working in the field of the services. You must, I request you, can you note down these points? Role of compensation. Okay, I think now you are well aware about the role of compensation here. Let's go in the another slide. If you are okay here, please. The age-old focus of the compensation management has been primarily on enabling an organization to recruit and retain the employees while they complying the legal and statutory requirements. And in the recent time, it is now being increasingly viewed as the key to acquire a competitive advantage and innovations in the compensation are now considered the necessary to do more with less by reducing labor cost per unit of output, motivating the employee for the higher performance, and providing an impetus. Impetus is type of energy to skill development and higher the quality, better the quality, to impart the quality, to increase the quality, to provide the betterment or to grasp the goals or to fulfill the goals for which is given by the organization. It is mandatory, it is required to focus on a good compensation policy. Then what are the considerations? What are the considerations? While we are designing the direct compensation plans, because planning is the first part. Planning is the first part. Planning, organizing, directing, staffing. These are the other parameters. But first part is the plan. It is important that an organization choose an approach that is in alignment with its organizational philosophy, value, and culture, and is supportive of organization business to achieve their goals. Due to the basic change in an organization today is the form of SBU. SBU. SBU is what? SBU is what? Strategic business units. It is important. SBUs. Strategic business units, and the new challenges and the opportunities there is in a growing search for the innovative direct compensation strategy is the part is there. Next, such approaches compel them to focus on motivating employees, where such approaches compel them to focus on motivating employees to achieve the organizational goals through the broad banding, branding, you can see skill-based pay. If a employee have the an employee have the good skills, there may be the chances he or she can ask more and more and more and more money. So skill-based pay and team pay plans also the part. However, so far there is no conclusive evidence on the effectiveness of these approaches to the framing of compensation policies of an organization. It is clearly indicated. So approaches are based upon the motivation aspects to fulfill the organizational goals, skill-based payments to increase the effectiveness of the work, and to increase the overall productivity with the help of this specific compensation policies. Next, in this exercise, it is critical to keep the job attractive and retain skilled manpower and the talent. Companies that do not respond with competitive pay package and indirect benefits will phase out. In the target is less labor cost at the expense of the organizational capital. I'm repeating again. In this exercise, it is critical to keep the job attractive and retain the skills. And but it is also very important here. Retain, retain. So what? Retain the skilled manpower and retain the talent. So there is the value of the manpower is important, but it is very very important to for the retention. If a particular person is the skilled, that particular person is the talented, particular employee is talented, then there is the need to retain a particular person for the sake or for the betterment or to achieve the goals of the organization. It is very very important. We must check the person. We must retain that person at any cost if it is very useful for the organization and a particular person is talented or skilled manpower, then there is the need the retention with the help of the compensation policies. Companies do not respond sometimes with competitive pay packages. Indirect benefits will they face out when the target is less labor cost at the expense of the organizational capabilities are. So it is clearly indicated here. An effective pay for the performance. We can say an effective pay for the performance program can be powerful tool to attract, retain, and motivate. These are the three powerful tools. ARM. You can say ARM, which is clearly indicated here. What type of the indication? A is the action or attract, R is the retention, and then M is the motivation or motivate. Attraction is important, retention is important, and motivation is important. So these three tools, three powerful tools: attraction, retention policy, attraction policy, and motivation policy is the part of the compensation. Competent workforce must be motivated with the help of these policies. That we can say organizations, they also need to ensure that the individual and the group results are the measured and performance is reflected in the pay. Many high technology and the knowledge-based organizations are moving towards the compensations with the relative more pay in the form of the stock options for the key employees in the software development organization. For example, you can say here, employee stock option plan are becoming increasingly accepted as an effective and attractive tool for retaining the skilled employees. So it is important and also the beneficial, we can say in this specific term. Next slide. Indicated here the compensation structure. You can note down here compensation structure. Okay. Yes. Compensation structure or an employee's gross earning from the employment may typically comprises the following elements. What type of the elements are there? Yeah, in this slide, we are discussing about the seven type or seven elements which are the part of the compensation. Number one is the basic base. It is very basic, fundamental. Then DA. We have sometimes all know. So what is the DA? So what is the DA? So DA is known as the dearness allowance. Overtime is the part of compensation structure. Profit bonuses, incentive bonus, fringe benefits. We have already discussed in the previous slides. What are the fringe benefits? We are providing some residential facilities. We are providing driver. We are providing educational benefits. We are providing some tools, we are providing the extra leaves, we are providing some specific things. So they are the part which is other than the financial assets or sometimes are also the part of the fringe benefits which are additional benefits which attract the employees or which retain the employee in the organization. So most of the companies nowadays adopting this concept of the fringe benefits which they are providing to their employee for making a good relationship, a harmonious relationship, and good organizational culture if they are want to develop in their organization. So they are providing the fringe benefits also nowadays. Then social security benefit, that 5.7. Social security benefits are also part of the compensation structure. Let's we remember one basic base, second DA, third one overtime, fourth profit bonus, then incentive bonus, fringe benefits, and social security. Also the part or this is the structure of a compensation policy. These type 4 or 7 points or elements must be under the consideration when we are planning, we are framing any compensation and reward policy during the HR practices. They must be in the mind for the planner when they are designing any policy for the sake of organization, for the betterment of the employee, for the betterment of the relationship between the employee and employee. So it's clearly indicated here is very, very important. It must be considered during the framing of the compensation program or compensation strategies or compensation policies. We must go through this slide. You can also write down basic point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Social security. Everyone aware nowadays what are the social security? What are the benefits of social security? What are the meaning of fringe benefits? Everyone is known. So it must be considered. Let's go. Then when we are considered, there must be in the mind of the HR manager who is framing this specific type of the policies for pay packet to be rational. There is a word we are using here, rational. What is the meaning of rational? What is rational? What is the rationality? The rationality means which is justified, which is justified, which is prerequisite, which is mandatory, which is logical, that all the things are under the part of rational. Then, for the rational, the basic base should be the major item and viewed as the price for the normal output. Normal output on a job, it should be protected against the inflation. Sometimes we are saying that inflation rate is applicable in case of the loan, and there is some, let's say, there are some specific interest rate is increasing in some banking or financial institution due to the inflation. So they are saying that there is inflation rate. So inflation and adjusted against the productivity or profitability improvement. In practice, however, the basic wage typically constitutes a small element which is rarely related to output or the outcome of a job. Further, the wage rate is usually not adjusted against the inflation. Further, the wage rate is usually not adjusted against inflation and the trend in the productivity or the profitability sometimes. Instead, we have to adjust GA, statutory bonuses, etc. are the part here. Let's discuss about the dearness. Dearness allowance a fundamental act on the basic pay to the account for the loss of the value of money on account of the inflation is determined and influenced by the numerous factors are there. These include union and management policies. Unions are also sometimes play a important role. Sometimes trade unions are there for the sake for the welfare of the employees or for the welfare of the labor force. And management policy, wage board awards, labor courts decisions, government policies, and movements in all India Consumer Price Index. Write down AICPI. AICPI, which is known as the All India Consumer Price Index. AICPI. Instead we are putting. So important is what? AICPI. The influence of this factor is not the uniform across the regions and the grades. Further, the rate of growth of the CPI in the different stations and center uneven as a result of these disparities in the DA between the center and the stations are created, posing the issue of the industrial relations. So you must write down the concept of D. Sometimes you hear TA, sometimes you hear about the TA. So these are the part of our policies. So these policies is what? TA. Okay. Then there is now, and now we have discussed here about the incentive bonus. Incentive bonus, we hear the word incentive. Sometimes you hear this is the salary, this is the wage, and incentives, actually incentive on the achievement of this target. Yeah, this much is the salary plus incentives. So salary is limited and incentives are unlimited. It is depend upon the productivity. Incentive is sometimes depends upon the achievement or what type of the work you are doing. This is the certain specific goals. If you are achieving more than the goals, more than the objective, then you will be rewarded and you may applicable for the incentives. So you can earn more and more and more incentives when you are increasing your productivity. You are doing well. You are achieving your target, or you are achieving your target more than the targets given target. Then you are entitled for the incentives. Incentives are applicable everywhere nowadays in the industry. So incentive bonus is the pay packet should be viewed differently from the statutory or the productivity bonus. In case of the latter, the focus is on the economic or the productive performance of an organization, whereas under an incentive bonus schemes, differences in the performance among the individuals are recognized and rewarded also. Thus, the nature, purpose, and the operational details of these two types of the bonus are quite different from each other. So you can see here what is the concept of incentive type of bonus. You can see next slide. Here we are considered. We have discussed various points. We have discussed various points, structures, objectives, roles, concept of compensation. Then we have covered direct, indirect compensation, wages, wage policies we have discussed. Then what are the fringe benefits we have discussed, strategies, what are the common area, the role of the compensation, structures of compensation, clearly indicated in the previous slides. But here we are starting to focus on the another concept. We are focused on the programs and what are the responsibility is the part. The function and responsibility you can see here in this specific slide. The function and the responsibility of a compensation program typically involves essentially three aspects. There are three aspects are like determining the wage rate and the wage structure, maintaining the rationality of the wage structure, and deciding the methods of wage payment. So function and responsibility of a compensation consequences or involve the three important aspects here. One, determining the wage rate and wage structure. Second, maintaining the rationality. We have already discussed what is the meaning of rationality. Justified, mandatory, required, or good combination is the part of rationality. So, the maintaining the rationality of the wage structure and deciding the methods of wage payment. These are some specific and important function when we are considering about the responsibilities. Next, a wage structure is a body of wage rates. Must be considered differentiated by the difficulty and degree of responsibility of work in an organization. The wage rate is assigned or decided for a job rather than the compensation to an individual equitable. There, this word is very, very important. Equitable. Equitable clearly indicated when there are things are equal, then we are using the word equitable. Equitable wage structure or internal equity implies that the wage differential truly reflect the degree of difficulty. In the other word, the difference in wage rates for the job correspondent to the differences in the evaluated content of the different job in any organization. We must focus in this slide again. A wage structure is a body of the wage rates differentiated by difficulty and degree of the responsibility. Degree of responsibility is what? Where the employees are there, employer is there, which type of the responsibility, at what extent they want to fulfill their commitment, how many association is there, how there is the association is there is the part of the degree for the wage rate is assigned or decided for a job rather than the compensation. Or there is the word equitable is very, very important. Why the word is equitable? Because there is the need of the equitable wages. Next, job evaluation. Evaluation is very, very important. Evaluation is very important. Why? Because it is usually undertaken to resolve the existing irrationalities, if there is any irrationality, and inequalities, if there is some inequalities are there, in the wages rate, which constitute a source of conflict. If there are inequalities are there are irrationalities are there in the compensation policy, then there must be arising of conflict in the organization, which is not good. Conflict is not good for any organization, and it may decrease the productivity of an organization when there is the conflict arises. Why? Only due to the irrationalities or inequalities due to the rate variation or due to some fever or due to some ill policy. If it is framed by the HR managers, then there is the clearly indicated there may be the chances of the arising the conflict in the society or conflict in the organization, we can say. However, when actually undertaken, it upsets the existing pay relations. Some jobs get upgraded while the other may get downgraded. Very often, implementation of a program of the rationalization of the differential through the jobs evaluation. It gives rise to conflict and agitation. It is therefore the necessary to take precaution before undertaking the job evaluation programs that is the part of this specific. Okay? So we always consider when we are framing and when we are designing any compensation or the reward policies, there must be we check if there is any irrationalities are there, if there is any inequalities are there in case of the basis. So conflict redressal cells are there. Why there is the need to prepare the grievance handling committees. If there are the grievances are there, if there are the conflicts are there, then clearly it is indicated there is a need to frame the grievance handling committees in the organization to check this practice, to stop these type of the activities. There is clearly indicated there is the need to re-evaluate, there is need to job evaluation, there is need to check if there are some irrationalities are there, inequalities are there, some variations are there, it must be considered by the HR manager or the particular person who are framing or what the finance department who are framing or designing some compensation policies for the organization for the shape of the organization. Then these precautions will include what type of the things are there. Some precaution must be under the consideration when we are planning, when designing the compensation policies, like the adaptation of systematic procedures. When we are adopting the adaptation or adopting of the systematic procedures of the job analysis, descriptions are there, specifications are there, and evaluations are there. So the adoption of systematic procedure, job analysis is there. We analyze the job, what type of the duties are there, what are the targets are there, and descriptions are the part of the specific. Specification means what type of the specifications are there. Like in case of the MBAs, there are the specializations are there. They are the persons are doing in that more than two, sometimes more than two specialization or basically in the two type of the specializations. Like if a particular person doing MBA or HR practice, he may be the person of the marketing in HR, marketing of finance, marketing of IT, international business. So specification is clearly indicated which type of the work is assigned to a particular person, what are their specific qualification is there, what are the specializations are there. This is the part of the specification. And evaluation. Evaluation is also very, very important. How we evaluate, how we think about the task which is given. The constitution, point number, you can see the B part is there. What? The constitution of a job evaluation committee with a union functionary on it. The constitution of a job evaluation committee with a union functionary on it. It becomes the part. Then recognition. Everywhere there is the need of the recognition. Every person wants the recognition. And the treatment of the basis, grievances, and distinct form of the matter pertaining to and arising out the job evaluation. So right now we have completed this block. In the next class or in next counseling session, I will be there. Then we will consider the block number 2. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Namaskar.